Good morning. This briefing will provide a strategic analysis of an entity that has achieved a paradigm rupture in global commerce. We are not here to discuss a fashion company. We are here to dissect a new operating system for physical production and consumption. The subject is Shein. However, the true subject is the algorithmic colonization of physical reality. Our analysis today will proceed through 6 distinct chapters. We will begin with the statistical impossibilities that define the subject. We will then expose the engine that powers this disruption. We will analyze the infrastructure of its control, the logistics that render it invisible to legacy systems, and the psychological mechanisms of its market capture. We will conclude with a projection of its strategic endgame.
Let us begin. Chapter 1, the algorithmic anomaly. To correctly frame this analysis, you must first understand that Shein does not operate within the known physics of retail. It is a statistical event so far outside the norm that it forces us to redefine the laws of manufacturing and commerce themselves.
Consider this first data point: $45 billion in estimated annual revenue. Let that number register. This figure does not simply represent market share, it represents a capital transfer of breathtaking scale and velocity. It is a vector of economic force that is systematically deconstructing the financial architecture of Western retail. This is not about competition, it is about displacement. Here we see the mathematical mechanism of that displacement. A legacy titan, the very inventor of fast fashion, produces approximately 50,000 unique styles, or SKUs, in a full calendar year. Shein produces that same volume in 5 days. This is not an acceleration of an existing model. It is a categorical break from it. The economic violence of this is precise. A traditional competitor's 6-month design-to-shelf cycle is rendered obsolete. Their inventory, their primary asset, becomes a balance sheet liability before it even reaches a port. And this is the consequence. The industry average for unsold inventory or dead stock is a financially corrosive 25%. Shein has engineered this figure down to less than 2%. This is a fundamental redefinition of manufacturing possibility. By replacing trend forecasting with real-time demand sensing, they have surgically excised the single greatest source of financial risk from the retail equation. The implication is a system of profound, almost paradoxical mathematical efficiency. Which brings us to Chapter 2. How is this statistical anomaly possible? The answer lies in the core technical mechanism, a system we will refer to as reactive manufacturing, powered by the LATR model. The LATR model, large analysis, test, and roll, is a closed-loop system for converting digital attention into physical goods. Step 1 is intelligence scraping. The algorithm functions as a global desire sensor, monitoring social platforms for emergent patterns. Step 2 is a micro-batch test of only 1 to 200 units, a financially insignificant probe. Step 3 is the algorithmic gate. If user engagement, click-through rate, add-to-cart velocity crosses a predefined threshold, the system triggers. Only then, in Step 4, does it authorize mass production. It does not predict, it senses and reacts. This mechanism enables a strategy of what we must term algorithmic arbitrage. Shein is not competing on design or quality. It is arbitraging the information latency inherent in the legacy retail model. It exploits the 6-month gap between a competitor's forecast and the real-time state of consumer desire. This is a systematic, programmatic destruction of a competitor's business model, executed by code. Now for Chapter 3. An algorithm requires physical infrastructure to enact its commands. The power of Shein's engine is built upon a revolutionary integration of the Guangzhou manufacturing ecosystem through a proprietary software layer. The central paradox of Shein's production infrastructure is this: it exerts total control without direct ownership. It has networked over 3,000 independent workshops into its system, creating a new social contract. We can characterize this as a form of algorithmic enslavement, paradoxically mediated by digital trust. The software is the true asset. Why does a factory owner accept these terms? The conditions are brutal. Orders are issued algorithmically at 2 in the morning, production must commence by 4, the price per garment is infinitesimal. The answer, the core of the psychological leverage, is in the 4th bullet point: instant, guaranteed, digital, liquidity. In a liquidity-starved environment defined by counterparty risk, Shein's system eliminates the primary existential threat to these operators: non-payment. This guarantee of instant liquidity is the mechanism of control. The global implication is the complete disaggregation of production. The manufacturing process is atomized into discrete tasks, distributed across a network of producers and managed by a single central software layer. In effect, Shein has transformed the Guangzhou manufacturing region into a distributed server farm for textiles. We can call this concept fabric as a service. We proceed to Chapter 4. This hyper-efficient production engine must deliver its product to the global market. Here, the strategy pivots from production innovation to a form of geopolitical Jiu-Jitsu, a logistics cloaking device. The specific mechanism is Section 321 of the U.S. Tariff Code, the de minimis rule. This provision allows individuals to import up to $800 worth of goods per day, free of all taxes and duties. Shein has weaponized this rule at an industrial scale. Instead of shipping containers to be processed through customs, it ships millions of individual parcels directly to consumers, each one flying under the customs and tariff radar. The economic violence of this regulatory hack is stark. A domestic competitor imports goods and pays, potentially, a 25% tariff. Shein pays nothing. This is not a competitive advantage. It is a state-sanctioned structural distortion of the market. Furthermore, this borderless attack of millions of individual parcels renders meaningful customs inspection for labor or material standards a statistical impossibility. It is logistics obfuscation on a global scale. We now pivot in Chapter 5 from the physical and logistical to the psychological. To fully grasp the model, we must reframe the product. Shein is not in the business of selling clothing. It is in the business of selling dopamine as a service. This is the central question of the chapter. We posit that the true product is not the garment, but the gamified digital experience of the haul. The clothing is merely the physical artifact of that digital experience, a souvenir from the dopamine feedback loop. The product is, in essence, TikTok in physical form. This reframing of the product gives rise to a new engineering philosophy we call photogenic durability. The utility lifespan of the garment is no longer designed for physical wear. It is engineered to match the 15-second content cycle of a social media video. Its sole purpose is to perform under a ring light for one digital take. This represents the ultimate optimization of cost, fundamentally re-anchoring consumer psychology away from physical longevity toward digital performance. The delivery mechanism for this is cognitive capture. The user interface is not designed as a retail storefront. It is engineered as a psychological slot machine. Gamified elements, countdown timers, point systems, social rewards create a compulsion loop designed to capture and monetize user attention. The global implication is the conditioning of an entire consumer generation to engage with the physical world through this gamified, disposable, and highly monetizable lens. We arrive at our final chapter, the post-physical endgame. We will now synthesize these vectors of analysis into a forward-looking strategic projection. First, we must confront the central paradox of this system. With less than 2% dead stock, it is, by mathematical definition, one of the most efficient manufacturing models in human history. Yet by engineering a culture of hyper-disposability, it is simultaneously one of the most environmentally destructive. The life cycle of its product is often a direct path from factory to video to landfill. Maximum production efficiency creates maximum consumption waste. Our strategic forecast projects the following evolution. By 2026, reactive manufacturing becomes the dominant logic in soft goods, forcing a mass extinction event for legacy brands. By 2030, we see the cloudification of physical goods, as this model is applied to consumer electronics, furniture, and beyond. The projected endpoint, by 2036, is a state of total algorithmic control of desire, where a singular global system anticipates and fulfills consumer needs autonomously. We will conclude with one final strategic warning. We must now seriously contemplate the terminal risk to Western economies when the last mile of consumer desire, the critical interface between want and fulfillment, is owned and operated by an autonomous, non-state algorithm whose logic is optimized for goals that are not our own. That is the strategic reality we now face. The briefing is concluded.